Spinnerack, episode 7. Today we are going to be reviewing Hal Jordan and the Green Lanterns number 25 and Infamous Iron Man number 10.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
It's going to be good.
I hope.
All right. The first book we'll start with is Hal Jordan and the Green Lanterns, number 25. So, this is the anniversary issue of Hal Jordan. I can be honest and say I haven't been reading this book. I read the first couple when it came out, but I wasn't really sure what was going on. But because it's an anniversary issue, it continues with the storyline that's been going on, but it also has its own thing going on. But I did a little back research so I could get filled in. I read the book first, and then I went and did the information. Got my information. So this book starts out where the Yellow Lanterns and the Green Lanterns are
living together in perfect harmony.
Yeah, but they're also at each other's throats, which has been the way as long as there's been a Sinestro Corps, which is, I read it's pre-New 52, and it's an excellent Sinestro Corps war. Followed Hal Jordan and Green Lantern Rebirth. Excellent storyline. Went through the Rage of the Red Lanterns, all that stuff. So you get if you're familiar with any of that story, it makes sense. A lot of the characters are still there. Arkillo, is still one of the Sinestro Corps. One thing that I found interesting is Sinestro's daughter, Sornik Natu, is now the head of the Sinestro Corps.
Yeah, I thought that was fascinating.
Which I thought was cool because she was a Green Lantern for a long time, or at least the last time I read it, she was a Green Lantern. So the problem is that they're fighting because Tomar 2 killed a Yellow Lantern.
Yeah, killed a Yellow Lantern with a similar name, which was a little confusing reading
Romat Rue.
Romat Rue, that's right.
Yeah. So they fought, and obviously the Green Lantern came out on top. And so the Sinestro Corps want blood.
Right.
Which is their way. And basically everybody's like, no, he's going to stand trial. We're going to do this the right way. Hal is, actually. And everybody's gunning for him. And so basically it kicks off. And so they're about to fight, and as Jenny said, John Stewart had created this idyllic utopia where the Sinestro Corps and the Green Lantern Corps were all both on the same planet.
Right.
Mogo. They're on Mogo, and they have built a central power battery for the Sinestro Corps.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting.
So both Lantern Corps have a central power battery, and so when it comes down to the fight, they find out that John Stewart put a little
kill switch
in the central power battery that basically cuts up. Well, it doesn't cut the rings off, but it makes the rings not able to do anything against Green Lanterns.
Right.
So basically, they're powerless against Green Lanterns. And so Sornik says, "Hey, we're done. Partnership's over. We're leaving." What I found ironic is that about a third of the Sinestro Corps opts to stay
with the Green Lantern
Corps. So they leave, and then you get this little teaser tidbit at the very end of Lyssa Drac, and which you don't. I assume that they've been at some point in time there. It flips to the Antimatter universe, and a portal opens up, and boom, two bodies are on this big stone. One's Lyssa Drac, and you can't tell what the other is, but when you get closer, you see it's Sinestro.
Yeah.
And obviously his ring activates, and she's all excited, and so Sinestro's back, or will be back.
Yes.
So I thought that was cool. The artwork is great. Van Shriver, excellent. Been on Green Lantern forever. He is probably one of the archetypical Green Lantern artists by this point. I mean, I was not a Green Lantern reader until Rebirth, or the original Green Lantern Rebirth, not this Rebirth. But I enjoyed this book, and even though I didn't know what was going on when I sat down to read it, does that make sense?
Yes.
It was easy to pick up, and from the get-go, Sinestro Corps and Green Lantern Corps had been at each other's throats. So it wasn't. So this was. It took me back to reading Sinestro Corps War, and I liked that all the characters were still there.
Right.
For the most part. I mean, there's obviously some new. And the nice thing about Van Schreiber's pages is that he's really good at what he does, and you get to see all these cool different lanterns. You got one lantern that looks like a spider.
Yeah, that's what I would call it.
Yeah, spider, and it's got a big Sinestro Corps symbol on its face, I guess. But you get to see all these cool different lanterns, and and them fighting and making constructs, and one point in time Hal makes a jet and flies it through people. It's another point is Guy Gardner and Arkillo are going to fight, and they both, instead of shooting each other with rings, they decide to make construct hammers and bash each other in the face with them.
I actually really liked that scene because they seem to be working well together on this planet. I haven't read any of the Green Lanterns before this.
I gathered that they've actually kind of bonded. They're kind of boys at this time because they both have similar temperaments. Yeah, thank you. So you can tell they're friends because neither one of them
responsible for ending the friendship.
They both say, whoever swings first ended this. I'm not swinging. Well, I'm not swinging either. Well, I'm not swinging. So you can tell they're boys.
Right.
And which I thought was kind of cool. Even though they're different corps, they've actually bonded and became friends. So
it's almost like the rainbow works together.
Yeah. So I enjoyed it. It was good. Took me back. I don't know everything that was going on, and maybe it would have made more. It would have been better if I'd read it, but I thought it was really good. I'm gonna give it a gold.
I haven't read any of the Green Lantern books, and I really enjoyed this book. There's a lot of interesting little hooks in there that kind of get you wanting to read it. I think the book before this, 24, is the one that has her branding.
Yeah.
Is it Kyle?
Yeah. Soronik brands Kyle with the Sinestro Corps symbol on his chest.
And something about hiding another heir of Sinestro and killing them, but we don't. Yeah. Maybe you find out in that issue who it is and what all happened there.
Yeah.
But outside of that little thing that makes you just want to go back and buy back issues or trades, it was a really great book. And having not read it before, I'm going to give it a silver. Had I known a little bit more, it's high-end silver for me. So. Yeah.
Well, like I said, I read a lot of the older, pre-New 52 Green Lantern, and this takes me back. I mean, it's just like it picks up. I thought it was nice that I could read stuff from 5 or 6 years ago and read this and still know what's going on roughly.
Yeah.
So and I don't think there's a lot of books that you can do that with, but saying that, there's the same characters there. You still get the same characters, but you also see the changes that have happened in them. So I liked it.
Ooh, and I'm interested to see this new Green Lantern pop up.
Yeah.
Because Tamar, too, has to relinquish his ring at the end of the book.
That's true.
And it lands in the hands of a girl whose parents were killed in some sort of raid or something, and she's
she hasn't spoke, right? She's been silent
mute,
since that time. So that'll be cool
to see if she'll stay mute or if she, feels a new empowerment through this ring.
Yeah.
We are about to review Infamous Iron Man number 10. The book starts off with a flashback to Victor Von Doom's childhood where he starts to figure out exactly what kind of witch his mother is.
Literally and figuratively.
Yes. And then he wakes up in a plane that's not quite the astral plane, not Earth. So it's this in-between zone where I would assume one of the alternate dimension planets that got destroyed in the big crossover events is. He learns more magical, mystical stuff from his mom in this book and still doesn't quite trust her to be who she claims she is. The Thing has been chasing Doom down throughout most of the series and has come back to Latveria to confront Doom again and finds a child looking for stuff to sell.
This is a really good... I really enjoyed this interaction between Ben and this little girl.
Yes, because everyone... I mean, let's face it, throughout most of comic history, Doctor Doom has been a villain. This entire series, he's been trying to reform himself, become Iron Man. He wants to change the world for good. Still, this whole wanting to change the entire world thing, can't just do things in small chunks. He wants the whole kit and caboodle to be right. And so this girl is looking around the crushed remains of Doctor Doom's castle, and the Thing approaches her, is like, hey, what's up? And she's like, oh, I'm looking for something to sell. And he's like, oh, well, sorry, I don't got anything for you. And she's like, it's okay. And the Thing's like, well, at least you're not under Doom's power anymore. And she's like, I miss Doom. I would give anything to have Doom be the ruler again, because he loved us, he cared about us, and nobody loves us anymore.
Yeah. He took care of them.
He did. I mean, they were his people, and as far as he was concerned, as long as his people were happy, the rest of the world would, follow suit. Because that was his goal, is to make it just in his image. So the girl leaves, and Thing's looking through the castle remains and finds a picture of him, Reed, and Victor from when they were young and in college. And he's like, well, maybe he is changing, but I still don't really trust it. And this entire time, Doctor Doom is learning new magic from his mom so that he doesn't have to make blood sacrifices anymore, which is how their magic started off.
Which, one of the things that happens in the book that I thought was interesting, he doesn't trust his mother, so in this astral realm or whatever, he encases himself in the Iron Man armor.
Iron Man suit,
and she makes a point to say one time, well, you don't need the armor. And he says, well, I need protection. And from the way he's talking, that he wants protection from her. He doesn't trust her.
Yes.
And that goes back to the flashback in the beginning when, she basically tells him, you got to do this, and if you're not, he doesn't do it. And he's a coward.
Yeah, he's a coward. And at the end of the book, Reed Richards appears in the same plane as the mom and Doom, and then they banish Doctor Doom from the plane and back to reality, and he tries to warn the Thing, you need to get out of here. Just go. This is not... They're coming, you need to run. And if you haven't read any Infamous Iron Man, he's been spending his entire time trying to redeem himself and become Iron Man. He feels that now that Iron Man is gone, the mantle and what he represented needs to be upheld. I mean, he respects Tony Stark as a colleague, and he misses Reed Richards, and you have two different storylines going on, maybe three. The mom and Reed Richards are working together some way, which is weird.
Okay.
And the mom's has approached Doctor Doom before, says that she couldn't approach him before because she wasn't proud of the man he was. But now he's trying to do good, and she's proud of him and wants to help and work with him in his life. And the Thing has been kind of chasing down Doctor Doom and is trying to bring him to justice. His family's kind of gone, Fantastic Four's kind of disappeared from the Marvel Universe.
Yeah.
Meets with... Reed Richards shows up in Thing's apartment one night and is like, hey, I need you... This is me, it's Reed. Tells some story about how when they were younger, these hot chicks came and talked to them even though they all had girlfriends, and he told Thing not to tell Sue, but he did. And he's like, it's really me. And I need you to do me something. I need you to kill Doctor Doom. I know it doesn't sound like something I would say, but you need to kill him in, blood, And so Thing's, having this crisis of, family and friends, not knowing who to trust anymore, calls Johnny into the book, and it's like, hey, Johnny, I think I talked to Reed, but I'm not sure. He knows stuff, but he doesn't sound like Reed. And, Johnny's like, look, man, I can't even look at you right now. It reminds me too much of my family. And did he mention Sue? And he kept dodging questions about Sue. And he's like, I gotta go. And just leaves.
Huh.
Yeah, it's been a pretty intense series. The mom is scary as all get out.
Sure.
She, Thing goes to Latveria the first time and makes his little armor plate rock things fall off of his body. and we're not sure if it was real or in his head, but it was terrifying. Ironheart, which is the new Invincible Iron Man, has been in the book a couple times.
Yeah, they make mention of her at one point.
Well, she captures Dr. Doom and brings him to the S.H.I.E.L.D. helicarrier.
Okay.
And she's like, hey, here he is. Because one of the things that they barely touch is in 2 of the issues, he's gotten these visions of the future and complete destruction and chaos of New York. And so he's talking to Ironheart when she comes looking for him. It was like, look, you cannot be Iron Man. And he's like, I have to be Iron Man. Somebody has to do this and, live up to Tony's legacy. And she's like, it can't be you. You can't do this. And he starts talking about spirit dreams, or dang it, what's it called? When it's like the path to manhood or something when you're young, and then you go off for weeks, and then you have that vision.
A walkabout, spirit walk.
Spirit walk, yeah. So he starts talking about this, and he's like, and I had it once in a moment of extreme duress, and she's like, he came to meditate to get it again, and she's like, it happened in stress, you're going to have to do that again, and he's like, fight me. Put it up to X amount, so that should get close, fight me. And the Tony in Ironheart's suit, that's her Jarvis, is Tony Stark's personality. And he's like, dude, no. And then she's like, but I don't want to do this. And Tony's like, do it. Start fighting him. And then he's like, fire, fire. The Tony AI is telling her, hey, you know what, just do it. Dr. Doom's like, what's the worst that's going to happen? You knock me out and then you get to take me in. It's I'm going to teleport you somewhere because he's got this teleport power. So she knocks him out, and he has his spirit vision, and he finally sees, instead of just this wrecked city, he sees his spirit animal. But instead of being an animal, it's Sorcerer Supreme Tony Stark.
Okay.
And Tony's like, look, you cannot be Iron Man. This is what happens if you are Iron Man. And he tries to warn him. He's like, when they come for you, you're not Iron Man. And Doom's like, what are you talking about? And he starts trying to say more and disappears. And then we get into 9 and 10. And we've got nothing to do with this Sorcerer Supreme Tony Stark. And this is kind of a filler book. It didn't have as much of the... it gives you some insight onto his mom and Thing possibly learning to trust Dr. Doom, because Dr. Doom has appeared at his hotel and was like, hey, I know you're not going to trust me, but I'm going to work really hard to make it right so that if you need someone, I'm there for you, and you can be there for me too.
Okay.
So it leaves you in the dark a lot as far as the whole series is going, because you're like, well, is Dr. Doom really turning good? Is his mom, still kind of evil? Is Reed, or is he like some demon pretending to be Reed Richards? And all of S.H.I.E.L.D's trying to capture Dr. Doom. Sharon Carter wants him dead. I've already been reading this series, so I've been really enjoying it. And I'm giving this series a golden age. The book itself, I think I'm going to stick with a silver. It gives you some backstory, but to just pick up this issue and read it without having read any of the other stuff, it's not going to give you what you need.
Okay. I'll give it a silver as well. For somebody that's not reading Infamous Iron Man, and it's, I haven't read Iron Man in a long time, the newer series.
Right.
So I'm not super familiar with everything that's going on, but I like the idea behind this. I don't like his mom. She's very mysterious, and it's like every other person's mom that shows up in comics, or dad. Something's not right, and you know that. I like the interaction with Ben and the child in Latveria. Yeah. I thought that was really good. I like seeing the flashback to Mom and young Victor and the rabbit, and so the book is good. I don't know everything that's going on, but for me, the story in there, other than the big grand spectacle that Jenny's been telling us about,
right?
I got it. I got a little backstory. I got a little this. So the book, I would pick this book up if I wanted to read it. So, but that's it for this week, and we hope you will like and subscribe.
Here.
on Iron Man's head.
No more covering people's faces.
So that's it for this week. Bye.
Bye.